Hey there, Outrider. Welcome back to Squee-El's gaming channel. Today we are going to play some more Outriders Worldslayer, but today we're playing the endgame. You can call this like endgame 2.0. Just kind of randomly jumping into a match here. There is like a little camp area, just like in the first endgame. You can kind of upgrade your gear and swap things out, mess with your gear, inventory, there's a store, you know, all that, and then you kind of dive into this endless dungeon where there's a series of bosses like this guy here. He's actually one of the first ones, fortunately, and there's also random like dungeons with just a bunch of random enemies, and you have kind of a couple different paths you can take over the course of like replaying this mode several times, but unlike the first time, you don't have quite as much choice what missions you end up undertaking. It kind of depends on the team and which directions you take overall, but I'm going to at least try to get to the end of it at some point here. Maybe not even in this video because it could take a bit, but just kind of go through a couple of the various different missions. This guy is kind of a cool little boss, though. I did think he was neat. I've already gotten about a partial match in before this video, so I'm sort of familiar with the mode, but I haven't really accomplished much in it. So, still fairly new to this. Completed the actual Worldslayer campaign, and that's what unlocks this. You come to this area while you're actually playing the campaign. And automatically your character is just sort of drawn to it, and there's this other AI guy that's with you. He just kind of implores you not to go here, not to mess with this, but as an outrider, you end up not being able to resist yourself once the main problem in Worldslayer is completed, and you end up back here to do the endgame grind, so to speak. So, little tedious, little repetitive. I don't think I like it as much as the first endgame, but overall, for any kind of endgame, it's sort of cool because, as opposed to a lot of games, this is actually just fresh content for your endgame. You end up recycling this content, but at least it's not content recycled from the main story, which I can at least still give some props for. It's more effort. And it was a hefty little expansion in terms of cost, so make you get your money's worth, you know. Yeah, this guy's got a lot of attacks too. He likes to cover a lot of ground. This is my second time fighting this guy. I faced him the other day. Throw out my heals for that guy. I faced him the other day, defeated him, got through another dungeon or two with my buddy that was in the previous video, and we ended up facing another boss that we sort of stalemated with. Ultimately, one of our guys dropped from the party, and then my buddy ended up finally deciding to get off because we've been playing for a while at that point, and I decided it wasn't worth pushing forward by myself, so here I am. Pretty much gonna have to be playing this for a little minute at least, which is cool because as far as our July gaming, we've got a few things going on, but not a whole lot. Put a light grind into this before we get it into next month, and a lot of bigger titles really start to drop, and then it's just all uphill from there in terms of gaming. So if you guys are following this channel, there's going to be all kinds of content probably in about 2 months here. Right now we're doing some various different things to keep the content going, but normally I'd actually have probably too many games. So you get into those busy seasons, have to make a bunch of different series just to get like individual series for various different games to get all the content in over the course of the following couple months pretty much. But we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. I'm still trying to improve the quality of my content. I apologize, you know, for the people that were there for that last video. I mean, I guess it wasn't too bad at certain parts, but I almost didn't upload it because there's just so many technical issues with that one. It was frustrating, but I was like, man, that's a lot of content, and it's Worldslayer. Couldn't really go back and repeat it. Although I am thinking of maybe, ironically, taking my secondary class. He's like the psychic one. I can't remember what that class is called. And maybe just loading up Worldslayer because you can kind of bypass everything with the way they have the new expansion, and it's pretty cool. It's a little bit more motivation to play with some of the other characters too that maybe got left behind. This game was pretty long overall. One playthrough really kind of took all you had, at least. At least that's how I felt. Especially in terms of the original end game. After just doing all that, even with my main character, I had a great time, but I was just like, man, I am not going to be doing that with multiple characters. But Worldslayer is a little more approachable, so kudos for that. And this guy's just been a bullet sponge. I like his little shadow copies. If they made like another class in this game, like a DLC class, I would totally be down for someone that had some kind of ability like that. Let's go ahead and finish you off, buddy. I believe we're playing on tier 15, which is when I kind of left this game the first time, but before Worldslayer came out, I was sort of hovering around tier 14. 15 was the max at the time, or the regular world tiers, I should say. And I was doing 15, but I was kind of getting carried for those, and that's just where I left it. It's where I kind of stopped playing the game. So doing tier 15 here, but really it goes up to at least 25, 30, I believe, possibly more. I think it goes up to way more than that. I can't even remember. We'll check at some point here in the video. Not a whole lot of gear, really. Oh, wait. Some pants, though. I guess I will take those. And some tier 15 is kind of still decent for me. I could probably move on to something higher than that real soon here, but I'm trying to get some better gear and not make this game just even more challenging than it already is if I don't have to. And these guys, they're pretty cool, and we all seem to be doing alright for tier 15. I had a lot of trouble balancing, I feel like, with the first end game. Like, the players you would join up with were just kind of all over the place. This is a cool little site. So this is like one of those little in-between rooms. We defeated that boss guy, so we move on to this next area here, as you guys can see, and there's several different doorways or paths, 1, 2, 3, and that's just for this room. And we get to pick one, and it kind of obviously just sort of, it's one of those things where it depends on your team as far as where you're going to end up going. These guys are lobbying for the throne room, so I'm just sort of here, along for the ride. I don't care where we go. I've barely played this mode. Any direction for me is, other than the one we just did, was a direction I've yet to really travel in. And this is another kind of just dungeon area, so we're going to be fighting more regular enemies here as opposed to the last room where we fought that ridiculous boss. But that's kind of, more or less, that's what this mode is now. You had these expeditions in the last one where it was like kind of full-blown individual missions, whereas now it's just kind of this, like, I think of it in terms of like a game board, and you just sort of move up the board each time, and there's a couple different paths you can take, and each little place you land on is like a different mission or boss fight, and then you rinse, wash, repeat, It's sort of similar to something a game Vermintide 2 did recently with one of their free endgame DLCs. It was this sort of dungeon mode where you had various different missions and stuff, and you went down a path and chose different ones, and sort of influenced your experience for each playthrough. Slight choice, I guess, which is what they're giving you here too. But it's also more of a commitment now, because even though the missions, the expeditions before were, they could go on easily for like 45 minutes or a little bit more even, whereas this is like, even though you're not doing every single mission here, you're kind of committing to a full run through of this whole, I don't know what this whole end game dungeon kinda. It's really different, and it's still sort of fresh though, so I've got mixed feelings about it. I apologize if anyone's noticed that I'm not always the most alert player. Sometimes I kind of just get wrapped up and run in my mouth and just emptying my gun on these guys lifelessly, which is sort of cool because you can kind of do that in this game. It allows you to be a lazy player, I guess, is more what it is. Especially me, because I got turrets on turrets. And I got the heals. Yeah, as far as the new skill tree, I very slightly touched on it in the previous video, but it was pretty early on as far as this new content, so I've still got a ways to go, but I am a little bit farther on that. Maybe when we're not locked in Mortal Kombat here, I'll show you guys some of what I've been doing with my skill tree. I'm still trying to keep my focus primarily on heals, as always. That's my main thing, and anything I can do with ice. But I also have it to where there's certain buffs and stuff I'm getting now due to turrets mainly, which we'll get into all that in a bit here. But it's cool. The skill tree additions they're not bad. I mean, if they weren't going to give us a new class, they did sort of make it to where you can deepen your build with the classes that they already have. So it's still a trade-off. It's cool. I appreciate it. I still can't get over just being able to freeze people solid with my hand. And my turrets, technically, as well. I actually got another Technomancer and a Flame guy. My buddy uses the Flame guy primarily, as you guys saw in the last video. Which I think he's kind of cool. He's really flashy and he's high damage. Whereas I'm more of a support, really.
Supposed to be a Tuma? It's the same face and those gems on her forehead. That means that Tuma was the daughter.
Might as well skip the cutscenes if they're just gonna wig out. I see you, capture card.
All the stories she told me, they were about her. She was here for all of it. 1,000 years ago. My God. She's ancient.
Yeah, that's some better boots. I'm not really worried about anything though, unless it's either a legendary or one of these like dark purples that drop now. You got like your regular purples and there's a dark purple. I think you guys saw earlier. I picked one up.
Who else has been here? No,
So, but we cleared this little dungeon, shot everybody to bits, opened this door here, move on to the next area.
What the fuck did Father write in a language from galaxies away that hadn't even been invented yet?
Really don't like the fact that this game has the it makes you auto pick up everything now, because I'm always really choosy. I mean, you can dismantle and sell everything, which I do anyway, you have to, but it's just like I don't pick up certain things for a reason, and then the game's like, here, take it all anyway.
This must be Father's secret passage. No one else has been past here in 1,000 years.
Ah, this is the boss I mentioned earlier, actually. This guy was a pain. It took me a sec to realize when I was facing him that you gotta use these totem things against him because he throws up this invincible shield all the time. Not a big fan of this guy. weapons are still just so what's up. And I apologize. That's kind of what I was talking about earlier about I'm a lazy player too. It's like I have other weapons, and they're all pretty good, but I just kind of all I really want to do is use this LMG that I got in the, I think I got it in the last video. Because it's just, it looks cool, and I love the green skulls that come out of it. And they really help in terms of my overall damage output, so it spoiled me. Unfortunately, the end game is, I mean, the whole game was really pretty giving with ammo, but I feel like at the end game here, it's even easier to find ammo than it was in the story. You know, there's an ammo box right there. Fortunately, these guys make themselves hard to breathe, which is not cool. Nice. Get out of that guy. Whew, that was ridiculous. Yeah, anyway, back to this gun. Yeah, I shouldn't even be playing around with this guy. Gonna finish this guy off. Probably finish this guy off because it's still gonna take a minute, as you guys can see with his health here. Take him out. And probably check out the next area, whatever's after this, and that's where we'll go ahead and call this video. I don't think that'll be the complete run for this dungeon. If anything, maybe I'm going to somehow miraculously make it to the end. I'll throw that, or I'll edit it into like the end of this video, or maybe we'll even do a part 3 for Worldslayer. We'll see. I mean, I am going to be playing this mode a lot more anyway, so might actually get another video or 2 out of this. No promises, but I got a couple other things going on too. We got lots of videos coming. Destroyer. I did at least want to do this video though, because after what happened with the last one, I just kind of felt like I had to. Wow, this guy's just not having any of my damage. Welcome to Outriders, ladies and gentlemen. Ridiculous shootout RPG game that really likes to kick your butt at times. We're all just struggling to stay alive. Here, have some heals, guys. Is there one of these totems to get to? Circuit damage. It's pretty much the name of the game always, you know, even though I have my regular heals abilities. Whoa. You gotta keep up the damage. That's your only way to really get health back in terms of how much damage you're gonna be taking. It's a happy balance. This game can get ignorant at times. No point in even taking cover in like these types of situations. Ah, he always gets me with those darn knives he throws. Wow, that was incredible. Finally got me. Could revive, but maybe wait a sec, see if this guy can get me. If not, I can pick myself up at least once. Ooh. Alright. I'm taking this guy out. He's caused us too much trouble. Yeah! Yeah! Get some! This destroyer again. This is the guys that had me on the run before. It's alright though. This time I got homies, I got turrets. And this fire guy is obviously where our damage is at. So that's kind of what I think why I'm sort of just clinging to him. Because again, I'm support. And when they had us all separated for a minute there, we were actually doing a lot worse, I'd say. Oh, turret, or thingamabob over here. Ow. Yeah. Nice. Heals. Oh, I can't heal right now. I would. There you go. Stupid shield's still up. Probably take this chance to get ammo. Alright. Get him. Yeah, the shield's down. Get wrecked, sonny boy. Yeah, all my little green skulls just going right to him. Love it. Time for you. That is what I'm talking about. Screw this guy. Fire everything! And he's got a shield back. Alright, I figured we were going to have to go at least one more round with this guy. Man, he is so hard to dodge some of his attacks sometimes. Probably just get rid of this guy. Freeze! Yeah! Man, like I said, I can't get over that freeze. Uh-oh, and then they freeze me. That ain't cool. Put me in my place. I'm gonna get rid of this guy. Already learned from experience. Oh, he gets rid of me. One way or another, this ends. Got my turrets backing me up. Heal that teammate over there. Right behind you too, that's cool. Return heals, thanks. Oh no. Ah, you're not getting me with that sword this time. You were spending half your time frozen. Couldn't be quick enough, man. That's what I'm talking about. I'm just paranoid that sword's mean. He hits you with that. Oh. Bring it down, bring him down, bring him down. Alright, moving on. Where's the pillar? Is it this guy? Yep. I'm coming, buddy. Whoa! What just happened? Were we too slow? Is that what happened there? Wouldn't be the first time. I didn't know that was a thing for this boss fight, though. Two attempts left. Yeah, you get... That's one thing I could have mentioned too. You only get a certain amount of attempts for this. But, yeah, I guess we're going to take another crack at this. You guys kind of saw what that was about. So, if anything, I'm going to do a little time skip here. Don't mind me. We got him! We got him! We got him! Yeah! Payback. Figured there was no point in repeating that whole thing again. Did it just a little bit better that time. And even though that's of no use to me, I'll still take it. I mean, it's going to give all this to me anyway, so I don't even know why I'd sit here and look at all of it. Ooh, legendary. Might actually have to swap some stuff out real soon here. Alright. Moving on.
Father must have written all this. Tuma said he was consumed by his visions. The past, future.
Wow. That's quite the view. Alright, guys. You were here for it.
This must be the source of all
Screenshot.
maybe of everything that's driven this whole world mad.
Alright, well, wonder what the next area is. I don't, if it's another boss fight, I may not commit to the whole thing in this video. But I am curious to see where all this is going. I'm sure you guys are too. This kind of looks like something straight out of Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order.
Was writing in English centuries ago. Galaxies away from Earth.
This is crazy though, really. I love this like sci-fi type stuff in games. This is one of the main reasons I play games. I like just seeing stuff like this visualized. Like somebody had to imagine all this. And there we go with all the the loot that I didn't want. Alright, well now we're in another area. Wow, we got a bunch of stone soldiers.
Look at all these
Very interesting. I like this. This is cool. Might have to take another screenshot here in a second. Make sure I got max ammo.
peaceful. Was the father building a goddamn army in some kind of stasis?
And we got something back there. I thought I saw movement. Yep. Well, I would really like to take a gander at my inventory and my skill points here at some point. Guess I'm not going to get the chance maybe until after this whole thing's done. Alright, well let's move inward, I guess. Looks like that's the thing we're pushing for right here, so... This one there. Yep, there we go. I'm going to hold this little platform right here. Clear these guys out first. Alright. This will be the treasure box, actually, that we should end up being able to open once we complete this and get some loot out of it. As if I needed more loot. I'm actually going to have to go through all my dark purples soon. I haven't been messing with them as much, but I'm actually getting a bit more stuff now. Oh, it's these guys. I love these guys so much. Best enemy type ever. Enjoy being frozen. Oh, there's like 3 or 4 of them at least. Man, that's just ignorant. Yeah, as opposed to me praising the game a little bit earlier, that's one thing that I wasn't too thrilled about with the new content. Is they added like what 2 or 3 new enemy types, something like that. Didn't mix up the gameplay much at all. It sort of is, which I mean, there's a decent amount of content, so, but still. Go. I guess they got him. Okay. Bringing around the Rosie for nothing. And turrets are on it too. I love the turrets. I don't know if you guys see too. I should have mentioned earlier. Normally you can have 2 turrets, depending on if that's how you choose to set up your skills with the Technomancer. But because of my build, I've got the 3. And that's one thing that hasn't changed too much. It'll change a little bit here as I play the end game. Maybe more so if I actually find some really crazy legendaries, but right now I haven't found anything too extravagant as far as like new skills and stuff. I might have to do some research. But yeah, my overall build is pretty much the same. It's mostly just kind of what I've done with the skill tree, which I'm still haven't shown that, but I'm trying to get to a point here where we're finally at a break in the action. I don't want to like leave these guys hanging to mess with the skill tree. Sometimes I'm that guy, but I try not to be. But we'll get to that real soon here. I want to at least throw that maybe at the end of the video here before I close this up. I think we'll finish this area, look at all that, and then we'll call it quits after that. Might do a separate video or something for the final boss fight of this. Some point once I figure out who or what that is. I would imagine there's some nice, like real nice treasure at the end of this, but not 100% sure. And that guy just fell through the ground. Whoa, teleported. Okay, that guy looks new. Yeah, we do. I forgot. We do have these like little Beastmaster guys now, which they're actually kind of cool. That's another thing. I would not mind a class like that. Like they've at least given me with their new abilities, I guess, that the enemies can have. That's given me like 2 new ideas for actual classes, like for an Outrider. I don't know if they're gonna make another expansion for this game. They did kind of go hard on this one, but who knows? We may get a sequel to this game at some point. I mean, it's been a bit rough here and there, but I think overall it's been a fun experience. I would, if anything, maybe wish for slightly less of the bullet grinding, but I like what they do with the loot and all that. They do the RPG elements pretty good overall for a shooter. I'd say this game's up there with its competitors, you know, like Borderlands and The Division. Any of the other ones that you guys really play, those are my 2 favorites other than this one. As far as this genre, if you're here because you like these types of games, you know, I did the Tiny Tina's Wonderlands recently, and now I'm doing the DLC for this game. I could be wrong because there's things always being announced, and I can't remember how soon it is, but one of the next games or entries in this genre specifically might be, if I end up really playing it, the new Tom Clancy game. It's like kind of the Division spin-off. I think it's called Homeland or something. I forget it. Don't quote me on that. It's something like that, but there is one coming, and it's a free-to-play style game, so it'll be different in a lot of ways, it sounds like. And as always, for more info on that kind of details, that's where Squee-El's Instagram comes in handy. Legends of Squee-El. Man, I want that bird form. Just being able to teleport out of here as a swarm of birds. It's almost as cool as like doing a vampire thing, just with bats. It's like a Beastmaster type thing. Well, we got him though, so we're gonna open this chest finally. See what we got. I'm gonna take this chance real quick since we're sitting here. Let's go to the class thing real quick. My ascension points, I've maxed out the health regen that I have, which all these skills max out at 10 turns out, so now I'm going to work on max health, and then after I get that accomplished, I might do more of the weapon leech and armor, possibly. Need to get another PAX point at some point, hopefully, but I've already reached the end of this part right here. I got this skill, which, as you can see, kind of basically does support with my turrets, as with this one. And then I've got this one. I pulse healing players, so being close to me is just overall pretty good. And then my weapon leech, which is, like I said, one of the other things I'm going to start working on. And I'm pretty much just going to push towards this. Start doing some overheal. That's one of the next things I want to get. Do criticals, even though I don't do a lot of criticals. Sometimes I line up headshots, so we'll do that. And then I'm going to hit these 2 next. And that's what I've got planned for this build. Guys are ready to move on here. Whoop, teleport me over here. Yeah, fortunately I didn't have to worry about any of the gear. Just auto picks it up anyway. I planned for that this time.
This place.
Wow.
It must have been drawing them all here. Answering some call to join Father's army.
Father's army.
How many of Enoch's creatures are being lured by this place? Called by Father. Shit. What if this is where all the big guys were on the move to?
Big arena type place. Likely gonna be a boss fight. Yep, you know it. It's another one of these guys. Alright, well, I've already fought one of him earlier in the video. This is just probably him. He's gonna have slightly different abilities. Like I said, I may do a clip in the future where we just kind of see where this all ends. If this isn't in fact it, I'm not sure. We'll find out, or I'll find out and I'll let you guys know. But I'm going to go ahead and call it on this video and take this guy out real quick just before I wrap up my play session here. But I figured the videos, you know, we've kind of giving you the idea, you know, what to expect as far as this game mode. So that's really what I wanted to accomplish with this video, and I don't want it to be too long though, so that's why I'm cutting it off. But make sure you guys give this video a like either way, you know. Let me know if you're already at this point, if you play Outriders. What if maybe some of what you've done, let me know in the comments with the new tweaks to the various class builds. Especially if you're one of the other classes, I'm curious to see what some of the new skills that they've been able to have access to because of all that, the pack skills that is. And if you want to subscribe to the channel, as always, that'll help me out. We'll probably see some more content for this game in the future, even if it's light. And as always, guys, thanks for watching. I'll catch you in the next one.